Hi, true avatars, and welcome to your weekly queer video game podcast. This is episode 75, and I am your host, Zoe Wild. I'm a transgender and bisexual woman, and my pronouns are she, her. This week, we have this week's Amy-Lynn. Amy-Lynn is a transgender lesbian, and her pronouns are she, her. Hi, Amy-Lynn. How are you? Welcome back.
Hello. Thank you for having me back.
And also here, returning from last week, is Lloyd. Lloyd, sir. Pronounce he, him. Lloyd is a trans man and variety streamer on Twitch. How are you, Lloyd?
I'm good, thank you. Hi, everyone.
Lloyd does not have video this week. That beautiful frozen image is very correct. That's accurate. You may have noticed in last week's episode, Lloyd was very, very pixelated. He was not a tentacle monster. Can we say that on the show?
I don't think that'll demonetize.
Nothing wrong with that.
But anyway, he was. We were having some connection issues, so this week we're going to try just audio and see if that fixes things. So Lloyd took this wonderful picture that I can't take my eyes off now. It's so distracting.
If that one picture ends up being pixelated, there's some sort of curse involved.
Oh, I hope so. I don't know why, but that gives me so much hope.
Anyway, we're back with the same format as last week, so we're going to be talking about what we've been playing this week, and then we have one news story, but we actually have an update on a news story from last week that I want to kind of quickly discuss. So GameStop was trying to buy eBay, hilariously last week, and so they did put an offer forward for like 56 billion or something like that. Anyway, eBay replied to GameStop's offer, and they said the offer was neither credible nor attractive, and basically shrugged it off. Oh, that's funny, because that's basically what they say when I bring in my $200 video game to trade in, and they go, "This is worth $5," and I say, "Can I get 6?" And they said, "This is not a credible offer, nor is it attractive." So it's very funny that they're finally kind of eating their own words.
Yep, I love that. We basically had that exact same reaction last week when we were talking about this. We were like, maybe there's something we don't know that's going on. Maybe there is like some, but we legitimately said like almost the same exact way. Like, what could GameStop even do for eBay? And it turns out nothing.
Yeah, GameStop can have it in trade credit. So go ahead.
I feel like GameStop is such like a less powerful brand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like when it comes to the whole world, like that's interesting. Like I admire the boldness to some degree, but as I might have said on this podcast before, I am incredibly happy EB Games has returned to Canada. Just from a nostalgia perspective, it does mean that some merchandise is no longer getting here. Like we're no longer getting GameStop exclusives at the same rate that we once did. But I prefer the EB Games brand. I have been looking for the Tails doll, which is US exclusive. It's a very weird and obscure Sonic character. It's not a doll of Tails. It is a robot duplicate of Tails that looks creepy.
Oh.
That's fair. I didn't think GameStop had any exclusives worth actually like going to pick up aside from maybe a pre-order bonus, because every time they release a Pokemon card thing that's exclusive, it's like significantly more expensive and significantly worse than every other TCG product you can possibly buy. So... But yeah, EB Games being independent now in Canada. First off, they got the name back, but also they got bought by a Canadian owner. And it's not perfect. They still have a lot of things to fix. But yeah, it's I've seen the state that GameStops have been in. They just closed a ton of GameStops. Like, I don't know how they can close like half the store. Not half the stores, but it was like something like 30% of the stores in the US that they closed over the winter. And then they're like, let's buy eBay. Like, please, come on. So I don't... But yeah, it's really, really funny that they got to hear everything they've been telling their customers for the last 30 years. All right. Yeah, so we're going to talk about what we've been playing this week. And then, of course, we're going to jump to one news story. And that news story, actually, just a little tease, is that The Last of Us 2, Season 3, which is an adaptation of The Last of Us Part 2, the second half of it, found its person that is going to play the trans character Lev, and it's not good. It's not good. So we're going to talk about that in the latter half of the show. But first, I do have some usual announcements and asks of you, true avatars. If you like this podcast, please leave a comment, rating, or review on your preferred podcast platform. Spotify has ratings and comments, while Apple has reviews. Engagement, like comments, ratings, and reviews helps to grow the podcast, and a growing podcast means a happy podcast host is forever happy and fulfilled that you enjoy listening to her show, which creates an infinite feedback loop of more podcast episodes and more growth, and thus more happiness. So please go leave a comment, rating, and or review. If you're watching the video version on YouTube, please like this episode, leave a comment, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button, as well as the notification bell so you're the first to know when a brand new video drops. Also, please follow True Avatars, a queer video game podcast, on social media. Their accounts on Blue Sky, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Facebook, and TikTok at True Avatars, and you can also find the podcast on the official website, trueavatarspodcast.com, no spaces. And remember, this is a weekly queer video game podcast, so check in every week. I'm going to bring you news, interviews, and updated discussions that are relevant to queer gamers, so you have a safe space to check in on the world of gaming from a 2S LGBTQIA+ lens. Alright, who would like to go first with what they've been playing? Amy-Lynn, you were not here last week, so maybe let's hear from you. What have you been playing?
Not super recently, but I got incredibly into Pokemon Pokopia when it came out. I had an amazing amount of fun, and that is, like, I have enjoyed Animal Crossing in the past, but I have never played Minecraft in my life. I've never played Harvest Moon. So, like, a lot of, especially not something like Dragon Quest Builders, so a lot of the gameplay style of Pokopia was relatively new to me. Of course, Pokemon isn't new to me at all, but I had a wonderful time playing through the game for at least a couple weeks there. It was a lot of content for a while.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this before, about maybe a month or so ago, that I did play for about 7 or 8 hours of it. And I sat there bitching for weeks about the fact that it was a game key card on physical, but I wish I had bought the physical copy because at least I could have traded it in, because I'm sure many people are going to be shocked to hear this. I'm not enjoying it. I don't like really building things. Like, I didn't build things in Tears of the Kingdom. Like, I'm not really a Minecraft player. I don't like to build things. So that's fine. I bought the game knowing I wouldn't enjoy that part of it, but I'm not really a big fan of the other parts of the gameplay loop. I have this kind of a similar issue with Tomodachi Life, where, like, little things I expect kind of like any other game I'd be doing, like, it's almost too intricate, where, like, a character will come up to me and be like, feed me, or do this, and it's like, feed yourself. Like, I have other parts of the game to play. I cannot feed you. Charmander will come up to me and be like, and he's so cute, he's adorable, but he's like, can you do this for me? And it's like, dude, there's a leaf over there. Wipe your own butt. Like, anyway, so I wasn't a fan of that, but also, I got to the second area, and I just kind of, like, I was about to meet Smeargle, and I was just like, I don't feel like it. I just don't feel like it.
I don't think I will.
and social media spoiled a lot of the story elements, which I won't spoil here, but, like, there's a reason why there's no humans in the game, is basically what is going on, right? And, like, there's explanation to the story, and, like, it's not that the story is bad or that I don't like it. It's not that it's been spoiled, but it's just kind of, like, not enough for me to keep wanting to keep playing. And the other reason I was really excited was I haven't met Stereo Rotom yet. But Stereo Rotom, so, like, Rotom is like a boombox, and when you unlock him, you can also unlock CDs. And I was like, well, Pokemon's got 30 years of music. Like, there's tons of Pokemon music. Like, you could have triple the amount of music that there is in Smash Bros. In this game and not even, like, begin to scratch the surface on the amount of Pokemon music there is. And I read the final number of tracks they put in the game. You guys want to guess how many tracks are in the game?
Oh,
50?
no.
Less than that.
I'm gonna guess 20.
It's 40. I'm pretty sure it's around the ballpark of 40 tracks. Because when they previewed it, they were like, oh yeah, there's, like, Ruby and Sapphire music, there's Red and Blue, there's Scarlet and Violet, and I was like, okay, this is good, but...
The important thing is that one of the first songs you get is Gold and Silver Game Corner. It's the, I guess, Diamond and Pearl Game Corner, the one that sounds like it's going to be an RPG battle for, like, the first 40 seconds, and then it goes into the version from Red and Blue. I think that's the Diamond Pearl. Anyways, I used to joke, like when I first heard it, I thought it was going to be the Regigigas battle theme, and then all of a sudden it just suddenly shifts into the standard Game Corner theme. Like I love it, and it's one of the first songs at least I got. I love Rotom. I love Pokemon music, so I love DJ Rotom. He could have had 12 songs, and I probably would have been happy, or at least somewhat happy. It's really interesting because I loved the game. I think the Pokemon have probably more variety of personality compared to the Animal Crossing villagers, which is really impressive and appreciated. But what frustrates me with, I guess, that aspect of it is that it kind of becomes a little bit of a slog as far as trying to figure out how to summon each Pokemon, what they're going to like. And then while the dialogue is pretty varied, there's some crossover, like how in Animal Crossing, the jocks all have the same kind of dialogue, and the cute characters have the same kind of dialogue. Pokopia tries to spice this up by having some of the evolutionary lines or other Pokemon with relationships with each other have like special conversations. So like Larvitar and Tyranitar will like talk with each other about Larvitar and Tyranitar stuff. I'm pretty sure Curly and Gardevoir have something, but as much as I love their alts line, I never got that that dialogue stuff because I ended up with a lot of choice paralysis in the game as far as like, oh, where do I want to move Pokemon? What sort of house do I want them to live in? What sort of garden do I want to build around them? Do I want to build this huge like glass covered botanical garden thing? And by the time I had the means, the tools to create anything I wanted and wherever I wanted, I have, you have two open places, both the equivalent pallet town, you can rename it, or the online islands that you can, carve and shape to your own whims. Like once I got to that point, and this is dozens of hours I got into the game, I loved the main campaign, but once I finished it, I was just so tired. It felt like by the time I had the tools that I wanted in order to create what I wanted, I didn't want to play anymore, which was heartbreaking because I adored it while I was playing, and I was at this constant battle between I want to get through the story because I think it's a great story for a Pokemon game, especially like just a cozy life sim. Like I haven't played Stardew Valley. I'm sure that's the gold standard, but it was great. But there's the balance between like, oh, I could clean up the garbage here, or I could carve out this mountain into a hotel resort. But I know I'll have an easier time if I just wait till the end. But when you get to the end, there's no more incentive, unless you want to meet Pokemon. And yes, they have sort of unique dialogue, but not that unique. I think what the game needed more of, you can activate these hide and seek mini games where you use Ditto's transformation to you can turn into a rock or a door or a box, not another Pokemon. That's just nonsense. But you can try to sneak and grab a flag or get to a checkpoint before the Pokemon find you, which was really cute and fun. And I think it needed 3 more mini games. I think even 3 more would have gone a long way into and make you able to unlock them and make the post game more meaningful than try to be friends with Ho-Oh, it's or find all the Mew tiles. It needed it was so feature rich, and the challenges were creative. It kind of felt like an escape room in certain moments, but then it didn't feel like that. And I was disappointed that I didn't really want to continue playing.
That's fair. Yeah, I think they're going to address some of that with DLC. I don't know that there's going to be DLC, but I keep hearing people like rumors about it. Don't know if they're true, but it would shock me that there's nothing planned for the fall for Pokemon aside from the Coliseum coming to Switch Online. And they launched with so many games at the beginning of the year. I have to imagine they've got Coliseum coming, probably Ruby and Sapphire, Pokopia DLC, maybe some other stuff, but
especially because they just announced that there's a bundle with, you can choose potentially Pokopia. So theoretically, more people will be getting Pokopia.
Oh yeah, I think it's a game that's going to sell. As long as the Switch keeps selling, this game will keep selling. And I want to make it clear to like people watching or listening that like this is not a bad game. It's just not for me. I think I'm at a point in my life right now where like I've played so many open world games, so many open-ended games that I think I want something linear right now at this point in my life, something more structured. I even fell off Donkey Kong Bonanza. I got to the poison world, like the area with like the jungly, foresty area with all the poison. That was last summer, and I was just like, you know what, I'm good. Like I played enough of this. Like I don't really want to play anymore right now. That said, I also played Hyrule Warriors, and I bounced off that. Although I bounced off that for different reasons. I liked how linear that was, but it was. They took the criticism of the previous Hyrule Warriors a little too far, where they changed too much about the canon of Breath of the Wild, where now this is literally the story you already played in Tears of the Kingdom with ever so slightly more detail. So anyway, I know I bounced off a lot of games lately, and they've mostly been the Switch 2 games. So I've stopped buying all the new Switch 2 games because I'm like, I've been kind of disappointed in them. I don't know if it's me, I don't know if it's Nintendo, what it is, but like Star Fox is calling to me, but Splatoon Raiders, not really. If the Ocarina remake of Time is real, that might be appealing. Because I've bounced off the 3DS one, because again, the camera controls are still like, they didn't fix those on the 3DS one. You still like, it's still fixed to like a hexagonal or octagonal like point. So like, you can't just like turn the camera in any direction you want. It's like a like a stiff, like turning around, like anyway, so point being is like, yeah, maybe Star Fox and Ocarina of Time will bring me back to my Switch 2, but Tomodachi Life is really the only game that I haven't bounced off of that's come out on the Switch or Switch 2 in the last year. So, yeah.
It's funny hearing you both talk about Pokopia as like a full, well-rounded game, and not saying it's not, but my experience with it was I was on a Switch 1, and I was connecting to a friend who has a Switch 2, and forgive me, I'm going to get the language wrong because I know there's two different ways you can share a game with someone, but it was either share play or local play, one of the two. And basically, I wasn't allowed to leave, I think it's Pallet Town, and I couldn't interact with any boxes. I couldn't interact with any workbenches. I couldn't go inside any houses. So I basically just ran around landscaping, picking things up and putting them down. I couldn't even access.
So you could interact with something though, at least, right?
Some things, yeah. Okay. I could level that. I could do some terraforming like no one's business, but that's it. I couldn't even interact with the Pokedex that has like the habitats in it. So like I could put things down, but I'd be like, maybe. And then like it would like light up to show that there was a habitat there. And I was like, cool. Wish I knew which one that was. And I had to wait for my friend whenever it would pop up and say there was a point of interest. I'd be like, ooh, come over. I can't touch it.
I wonder how much of that is we can't run the game on the Switch 1, but we want to be able to get it on there, or how much of that is buy the game. Just buy the game. We've given you this as a little taste, but you have to buy the game.
It was kind of nostalgic because it literally reminded me of like those glorified like in-store demos that they would have, where they had like the controllers like welded to the display cases. You could play like 10 to 30% of a game. And it'd be like, ooh, if you want to have actual fun, buy it. That's exactly what it felt like. Yeah.
Fair.
Or the one card Mario Kart where everyone had to be Shy Guy.
Oh, yeah. They did that twice, I think. I think they did that with the 3DS and the DS, right?
I only remember the DS version, I think, but...
Okay, then that confirms it, because I only remember the 3DS version, where anyway, I definitely wasn't playing during work hours many years ago as a summer student. We definitely weren't playing Mario Kart instead of working. That did not happen. But yeah, I brought my 3DS one day or my 2DS, and everyone saw me playing Mario Kart, and they're like, oh. And then someone else came in with the 2DS the next day. They went and bought one that day, and we played. And they didn't buy any games, so we share played. And then suddenly, the four of us were all playing Mario Kart. And I think I was the only one who actually owned the game. So, yeah. Anyway, it's cool that they still do that, though, even though it's like the features are, again, pretty limited. Like, I think it's really cool that not only do they let you share play the game, or whatever they call it, the feature, but they also let you do it on this Nintendo Switch 1. So, like, if you don't have the Switch 2 yet and you want to sample these new games, you can still do that. Even if, again, like I said, like, the features are basically non-existent. Like, yeah, you can breathe in this area, but that's about it. Lloyd, did it make you want to buy a Switch 2? And buy Pokopia?
It made me wish I could buy it. It made me wish that I didn't have to be worried about how expensive that entire investment would have been. But a little bit, but no, not fully.
Fair. That's fair. All right, Lloyd, what have you been playing?
Yes, so I actually played this really cute demo called Leafy Corner, and it is almost exactly how it sounds. You run this cute little plant shop, and what I loved about it is not only do I love like dopamine hits where you slowly unlock things and make customers happy in an environment that's not real life, but but what I thought was really cool about this game was they had a wonderful little encyclopedia built into the game where it would give you some information about each plant. It had a few tags that it used for if it was plant friendly, or if it was beginner friendly, or if it was a thirsty plant. And I was really impressed just real life information went into it. I'm not a super big plant expert, but I do like keeping the odd house plant, and everything that I was familiar with was accurate. And cool. I don't remember the full number of plants that were included in the demo, but they gave you this really neat peek into the full list of plants, and it was massive. Like it's going to be huge when it does come out. So it was very cute. And like the clients would walk in, the customers would walk in, and they'd get a little question mark over their head if they didn't know what they wanted. And you would get something, just a hint at what might make them happy. And it would range from something that tastes good to something I won't kill to something that's safe for my cat. And it was neat. I really liked it. It was very relaxing, and I played the whole thing and got all of the achievements in one sitting.
Oh, wow. And some of the demos have achievements.
Yeah. And some of them included like variants of plants that you can only get by making enough of them and growing enough of them from seed. And so that it was a couple hours.
So is it mostly houseplant focused, or does it go into other plants? Because you mentioned plants that taste good. And I'm very curious what houseplant tastes good.
What's funny is I'm pretty sure that was the joke, right? Because everything I had in the store should not be eaten, and
I think you can eat aloe,
scientifically
right?
accurate, except for the ones you can eat.
There were a couple succulents. I don't know if they had aloe by name, but they did have a couple succulents. So I think you're onto something.
Yeah, because they sell aloe drinks. So I mean, I'm not recommending anyone, any of the True Avatars listeners, break open their aloe and eat it, or drink what's inside. But I'm pretty sure that it's probably not going to kill you. But I'm going to do research before I'm not going to try doing that. I don't want to rip open my aloe. I've heard that you can do that as like a burn heal. There's probably a more accurate scientific word for that. But I know that a lot of houseplants are toxic. So that sounds great. I'm just looking over at my houseplants in various states of being alive, and I love that there is a game based on that. Zoe, I know that you mentioned that the purview of the podcast is broadening, but houseplants are incredibly queer, especially Monstera. I don't know why. Like, what about Monstera is queer? But it's the gayest plant.
It's so majestic too, though. Come on, like maybe
Like most
maybe,
queer people, they're pretty majestic. I'm not one of them. I'm a klutz.
No, stop it.
So I have a question about the game, though, if Lloyd, if I may. So is it like you might have mentioned this, but I might have missed it. Is it like an isometric top-down kind of thing? Is it a visual novel more like Coffee Talk? Because the gameplay sounds a little like Coffee Talk, where like a customer comes in and they're like, you know, they're having the most emotional day of their lives. And they're like, hey, I don't know what I want, but I need you to give me the exact thing that'll solve all my problems, or I'm going to give you a bad review and leave. So anyway, that's like a very overdone version of what Coffee Talk is. But well,
you couldn't see me shake my head, but like me and Coffee Talk have a relationship. I love everything about Coffee Talk, but I always do the wrong thing, and I'm not given the information I need to succeed. But that's okay. That's it. I'm good. I'm fine. I'm safe. Coffee Talk isn't here. But
Coffee Talk isn't real. Coffee Talk can't hurt you. Coffee Talk Tokyo, meanwhile, coming out in like a week.
This is it's 3-dimensional. You can actually rotate the camera and everything.
Okay.
Yes. And what's really cute is the store has, for the point of view, more or less, it has 2 of the walls completely gone and the roof completely gone. So you can rotate around and look a little bit, but it is sort of like a very like you're pointed in one direction, but as you're rotating the camera, you can actually get a glimpse in your peripheral of the city around. So you can see people walking around. The people you see walking around could walk right into the store. Like, it's not a different. Sometimes games like render it differently so that like the outside doesn't interact with whatever interacts with inside the room that you're in. But no, it all seemed to interact with each other, which is really cool.
That's awesome. Also, that means like the encounters again are. It sounds like they're kind of random too, like the interactions where they're like not scripted. Like Coffee Talk is scripted. Like you're playing through like, all right, these 2 customers are coming in today, and every time you play through the game, those same 2 customers on that first day will come in, kind of thing, right? Whereas it sounds like this might be a little more random, which is cool.
Yeah, this feels random, and after. I got to a point where I was using the fast forward button so that, you know, people were running around and I had to take off the fast forward just in time to deal with a sale or a client that like was waiting. And at one point, someone asked me for about a plant recommendation, and I recommended a plant, and they said, no, thanks, I already have that one. And I was like, wait, did they already come in before? And I was supposed to remember that? So I don't know anything about these people. They didn't tell me about their lives. So it's not as deep as Coffee Talk, but I can't help but wonder, as if time passes, you do start, like if they remember what they've bought, or if you actually do start unlocking a little bit more personal stuff with them. That'd be kind of cool.
You have actually jogged my memory on another game I've played recently that is very similar, but when we're ready to move on, we can talk about it. But it's this video rental game. It's like you're running a Blockbuster basically. And when you were talking about the people coming in and out, I was like, right, I played that. And then you were talking about how people aren't expected to. You're not expected. Like, are you expected to remember this character from before? And I don't think that Retro Rewind game that I want to talk about later has that, but. That'd be very interesting if there's these like randomly generated NPCs that you then once that you've interacted with them once, they're like mainstay characters, and they come back in again and they say like, because otherwise it could just be like you didn't recommend the right plant based on their advice, or maybe is there like dialogue trees in it? Maybe you missed a dialogue tree where they said, actually, I have a Monstera, I wanted this plant. So I don't know nothing about house plants. I wanted a aloe cactus instead. Anyway, yeah. Do you know, like, was there branching dialogue or anything like that?
I'll be honest. I was zoning out, trying to make sure I got my special variety of jade to grow. And then anyone who came in and gave me $20 for a plant, I was like, cool, okay, bye. So maybe, but no, there wasn't like a lot of options. I think the only input I really had was what plant I handed them.
Okay. Interesting.
What's the art style like?
I'm so bad at picking the right words for things.
Well, I'm gonna look this up too and just see too.
Yeah, you can help me for sure. It's kind of round. It's round. It's cozy. It's got shadows.
Like
it's not pixel.
It looks like The Sims a little bit, like graphically. Yeah, it looks like a slightly more modern version of The Sims. A little stylized, not cel shaded or anything, but simple yet detailed. I can't. Yeah, you're gonna have to look this up to your avatars because it's a little hard to explain. But it looks. You can control the camera, but I would still describe it as isometric. It's like it's got that. It's not like a top-down view, but it's not like ground level view either. It's like got that like corner. What people are referring to as isometric, I guess. I don't know why I'm doing like an air slapping thing here, but like the camera is like kind of pointed down. Anyway, whatever. It's also an audio podcast. There's no point in me doing random stuff with my hands, but it's very green. Like the actual, like every screenshot, like everything looks green. Like I don't see a different color palette here.
It's a good choice.
Yeah.
There were some like options to decorate your store, and a lot of it after a certain point was not available yet. So I wonder if paint is an option.
Right. Yeah. I mean, again, this is not to put any kind of pressure or expectation on any kind, like any developing any kind of simulation game, but the more customization there is, the more I find the players get into it. Like, for example, Pokopia, you can do all this building. Animal Crossing, people like to customize. Tomodachi Life, you can build anything you want. Like, you can use like a stylus or the touchscreen to make any design that you want. And even Retro Rewind lets you like pretty much build up your blockbuster the way that you want to. So, yeah.
I mean, if you're bad enough, I'm sure you can get all the plants to go brown.
They can die. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So that's a different palette.
You can overwater them so that they rot. You can underwater them so that they dry out. Yeah, there's a couple options.
Is there like any kind of like in-game, like, I don't want to say punishment, but like, is there any kind of like, do you lose anything? Like if you, like, is there, what happens if you let a plant die?
If you let it die, it just sits there really sad and you can't sell it. And you have to just empty the pot. No, with that attitude. I don't think that there was like a store rating or anything, or like I didn't kill a lot of plants. I was on it. I'll gloat a little bit, but like the one or two that I do remember overwatering by accident, no one commented on it. Maybe because I like threw them out the window immediately. But I think the only thing that really gets in your way if that happens is all the plants actually have a growing cycle. So you can't, if you were low on that plant or you didn't have any more of that plant out and someone wanted it, and they happen to walk in immediately when you're trying to like replant jade that has like a 3-day growth cycle, that and the fact that you have money, I think that is a punishment. A punishment enough for what that game has so far.
That's fair. Okay. Any other thoughts on Leafy Corner before we move on? All right, nobody speak at once. Okay, so I now that we're talking about sim games, actually, I was going to talk about a different game. We might talk about that a little bit later. But now that I've had my memory jogged on this, I've been playing this, again, it's a blockbuster simulator. And it's called Retro Rewind. As far as I can tell, it's only on PC at the moment, but it is fully released. There is a demo if you want to go check it out. I tried the demo first. The demo, again, is pretty bare bones, but still really cool. But basically, you are the owner of a video rental store. It's very similar to it's basically Blockbuster, right? And so when you start up your store, they let you buy bundles of movies. So you get like 10 movies per bundle. So I think you can get like, I think it's sci-fi and horror. No, 1 drama and 2 horror bundles. Horror movies fly off the shelves, by the way. This has always been true in the real world. This is also true in the video game. Anyway, so when you start up your store, though, you buy 1 shelf. So you have this big store, and you put 1 tiny shelf on the wall with 30 videotapes on it. It's set in the 90s, and it goes per month, but per month is each season is a month. Each month is a season. So like think Stardew Valley, where there's like, it's the 30th of autumn. It's the 30th of winter. It's the 2nd of spring. Like, so there's 4 months in each year, and each season is a month. And so you're basically, and the same is true about real life as it is in the game as it is in real life. Tuesday is new movie day. That's also always been the case for movies. New movies come out on Tuesdays in North America. I don't know if there's any kind of setting for if you play in the UK where movies come out on Monday, and I think in Australia it's Wednesday, so I don't know if Australian players can mod that, but there are already a lot of mods for this game. And the one thing I had to mod right off the bat is the movies, because all the movies in the game, they're not even Greeked. Most of them are not Greeked versions of like real movies. 90% of the movies that are on the shelf are like just random made up things. It seems like they're almost what do you call it? Procedurally generated, where they just like they pick 3 random stock images, like a stock background, a stock item, and a stock person, and they just merge them together and gives a random title. But then when you start actually having to buy new movies, and you're like, you have to, there's a new release coming out this week. It's a very popular movie. You have to decide how many copies you want to buy so you can rent them out. And if you buy enough of them, you get a standee to put in your store. And a standee is like a cardboard thing that you put up that has like usually the poster or a character cutout. Anyway, so the first movie was The Color Violet. So it was like a ripoff of The Color Purple. So that was when I started noticing that there were ripoffs of like Greek versions of like fake versions of real movies, because they obviously couldn't get the copyright. But when I was playing through it, I was kind of like, first off, this movie came out, The Color Purple came out in 85 and not 1990 when the game starts. So this is already inaccurate, first off. But second off, I looked up to see what other movies got like fake movies, and I wanted to see if Back to the Future was in it. So I think it was called Return to the Future, and its release date is like 93, and I'm like, well, that doesn't add up either. This movie should already exist. So I went online, and someone had made a mod that adds actual movies to the game with real posters and like real titles. The characters don't react as if they're real movies. They still react as if they're just a movie. But yeah, it's really fun to just like each day that as you make more money and the store goes, like you have to like put movies off to the side for people to put on hold. You have to process returns. You have to rewind tapes. You might be organizing the shelves and someone's at the counter trying to check out. Oh, you got to run back to the counter. You're at the counter checking someone out. Someone's at the side asking for your recommendation. And if you don't give them a recommendation, sometimes they'll be like, okay, I'm leaving. Other times they'll go to the shelf and find something else. There's been times where I've had no movies on the shelf and people are still browsing the shelves. It's really funny. But yeah, as you make more money, you unlock more things. You can buy individual movies. You can also buy, sometimes there's also a guy who shows up every Tuesday night or something, or every Thursday night. The door to your store is open in the back, and you're like, okay, what's out back there? There's a creepy guy at a table, like a folding table, who's like, I've got bootleg tapes, and I'm like, this is not legal. And I don't mean like in terms of like, not like pirated movies are one thing, but like to rent a movie in any store in the real world, you have to license it. So if you just put a bootleg movie on your shelf, like all it takes is one Hollywood person to come in and be like, or a distributor and be like, that you're not allowed, that doesn't exist. Like you're not allowed to sell that. But it is really cool that like you can find all kinds of movies. It got a lot better once I added the mod for real movies. So when someone would come in for a recommendation, like, oh, I want a movie like a good drama, like a new drama, and I'd be like, all right. And then I'd be like, all right, here's The Color Purple, not The Color Violet, and I could recommend that, right? So yeah, it's addictive. The only thing I found is that for me personally, after playing for a while, the motion gets to you. Because you've got to like your first person, it's like first person, it's 3D but very not detailed. Like, and that's okay. Like the graphics are fine, but after a while of like turning and like, okay, going to the checkout and getting the money out, handing the videotape. Oh, got to go over here and get the thing off the shelf. Oh, got to go over here. Oh, someone wants a slushie. Get them the slushie. Go make the slushie. At a certain point, like after about an hour of playing, my brain starts to just get like my eyes start to hurt. I start to feel pukey. And I just kind of want to stop. And it's also almost unplayable on the Steam Deck. Like it works, but you're going to want mouse and keyboard for this. Let me tell you, you want mouse and keyboard. Yeah, it's really cute. So, and you can name your video store. You can like, it gives you like, you can't make a logo, but like you can enter any text you want and you can choose the design and it puts it up above the store. So I think I called my first store in the demo like Zoe Video, but the store doesn't transfer over. So I think I call it like something else in the main game. But yeah, it was really cool.
Oh, cool.
Can you install a popcorn machine like Jumbo Video?
Yep. Yeah, you have to unlock it, but the first thing you unlock are slushies. And people will come and you'll be like, come to the counter and they'll be like handing you their movies. And then you'll be checking them out and then you'll be like, why aren't you doing anything? And then you're like, the little thing above their heads like got a slushie image and you're like, oh, this Jerk wants a slushie. All right, I'll go make this guy a slushie then. And then it'll say what color they want. And sometimes it'll like be a rainbow, so you got to go mix all the different flavors, and then you got to give them that. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And I never unlocked I didn't get far enough to unlock the popcorn machine, but there is a popcorn machine that you can eventually fix and then open up to customers as well. But for some reason, the slushie thing is first, so.
But you can't give the popcorn out for free?
I don't know if you can or not, actually. That's a good question. I personally wouldn't. When I play this game, I'm a hard capitalist. I'm like, and I also tell people no when they don't like it. I'm like, they're like, do you have this movie? I'm like, no. And they're like, I don't have it. Like, I don't. I feel like I'm the only person that in the world that gets in trouble for telling people no. But I constantly go into stores and ask for people for something. Like, we don't have this. Get lost, kid. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll get lost. Like, I don't know. Anyway, so I have no qualms about telling these people to get lost. Like, I don't have the video you want. You should have come in earlier.
That's awesome. It reminds me a little bit of, I think it was called Supermarket Together. It sounds very similar that the idea of first person, you run around and do things. If someone complains about something, you deal with it. You have to, do you have to restock? Like, is there a chance in this game where customers won't return the movies?
I don't know if I got that far, but something did happen where people will return things late. And then, and when they return something late, this is fun. The next time they're checking out, it asks you, do you want to charge the person the late fee? And I'm like, yes, I do. Yeah. Yes, I want that money. And there's one time I chose not to, and they were like, okay, cool. Like, they didn't thank me or anything. I'm like, all right, okay, whatever. Jerk.
I think I saw a gameplay, like a let's play of this online a few days ago. They have the rewinding machine, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's
I've never seen one in person.
Wait, really? You lived through the 90s, like me. You never saw a rewinding machine at Blockbuster?
I rented a lot of VHS. I owned a lot of VHSs, but like I never like paid attention to like if there was a machine in the video store. I was more excited about getting movies and games and free popcorn.
We used to have this, like, I think it was like a Cadillac, like legitimately like a Cadillac. I don't know how big I would say it was, maybe like a foot long, we'd put our VHSs in it to rewind it before we'd return them to like, I don't know, the library or the store. Thing? Yeah.
Like, was it only a rewinding machine?
I think so. Like, it was not a VHS. It wasn't a funny VCR. It wasn't a fun shaped VCR. It was legitimately just for rewinding.
Damn, because like I remember at one point, I know before, this is gonna sound really bad, but I mean this like, I never lived through a time when there was just rewinding machines separate from VCRs. All the VCRs I ever owned, not that many to be clear, but the VCRs I owned all were capable of rewinding tapes. So I've never seen
mine could too.
Yeah, the only reason I know Blockbuster had them is because they weren't. Yeah, it was just like, I think it was more efficient to get a rewinding machine because it could rewind them faster. But that's really cool that they had like fancy Cadillac rewinding machines.
No, I found it. I found it online. It was a Chevy. It's a Chevy VHS video cassette rewinder.
Damn. Like just now you found it, or you bought it online 20 years ago? Okay.
No, we had it. We probably bought it in person. I couldn't tell you where, because I was like little when we had this, but I just looked it up online. I was like, I wonder if this actually existed or if I'm just making this up. But no, I'm seeing a photo of it, and that's the one we had. That's a red one.
As a kid, I couldn't, like as a 2-year-old, I couldn't read yet, but I knew how to rewind videotapes.
Aww.
Not that it's that complicated, but like I was really into Thomas the Tank Engine as a kid, and I had a couple of Thomas tapes.
As a kid?
Also as an adult, but as a kid, as a 2-year-old, I was like obsessed with. I had to have. So I was like rewinding the same half-an-hour Thomas tape. I'd watch it. I'd like press rewind. I'd wait for it to rewind, and then I'd press play again constantly. And sometimes when I had multiple tapes, I would swap them out. I'd be like, okay, James learns the lesson is done. I'm putting in Thomas breaks the rules. All right. Oh, I didn't rewind that one before. All right. And apparently my parents were like the whole time because like just like a shocked face because yeah, I couldn't read. But I could rewind videotapes. So
you're really making me want them to make, or anyone to make an HD version of this game. like I feel that like part of the reason, like I've never owned a Five Nights at Freddy's game, but why I've enjoyed the let's plays and playthroughs, especially of the Pizzaplex games, whatever the Security Breach, is the fact that you go into a early 90s arcade, like or like a big Chuck E. Cheese complex, like, and I remember going into Laser Quest and Palladium and all these kind of, I guess Chuck E. Cheese is the obvious one, but like, the weird squiggle floor carpeting, the like atmosphere, like I get that it's easier to make a game that is kind of low poly and kind of quirky in its rudimentariness, but like I would love like an HD, here's like an 80s video game store or a video store rental place simulator. Like,
when you say HD, do you mean like much more detailed? Like the graphics are more detailed where it seems more like realistic? Yeah.
Or stylized, but not low poly. Like, I think it would be fine if it was like, I was going to say watercolor, but like, like interesting, like painterly or something like that. Just, not, one texture per 5 meters kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, I think this is indie dev, so I think that's why it's like low poly. So I totally get that. But yeah, I think, to be honest, like I'm waiting for the days where we have like the Sword Art Online style VR where they just like intercept your brain signals, so your brain is no longer controlling your body, but it's controlling your avatar. And then I can either just like own a Pokemon farm that's literally just 100 Magnemites, or alternatively run any store as a simulator that I want. And even better, I can interact with either real people or NPCs, and I can just ban the real people and just interact with NPCs that I've programmed to just say whatever I want, so I don't have to deal with people that are bothering me, Can actually enjoy working in retail, because I worked as a cashier many years ago for Canada's version of Target, and when it was busy but people were nice, it was actually a fun job, like legitimately just ringing people up and like talking to people. Oh, hey, you're buying this is cool, let's talk about this. Sometimes people would come through with Thomas the Tank Engine stuff or Pokemon stuff, something you were interested in, and you would talk to them about it. Sometimes they were buying it for their kid or they were a fan of it too. I met a few very early in their transition trans women at the time too. I didn't realize, I didn't know anything about myself at the time enough to like have a conversation with them about that, but it opened me up to like, okay, it's okay to kind of like not pass at first type thing. Like there's just like the good things about like running a store, but then like then you get those people that are just like genuinely downright awful. Like I had a couple come in on a Sunday morning, and I worked for Zellers, and so Zellers in Canada, there's this thing called, and they might have it in the US too, Lloyd, I'm not sure, but it's called Scanning Code of Practice. Okay. And Scanning Code of Practice. Sorry?
I said, no, I've never heard of this. No, okay, please do.
Well, once I explain it, you might know what I'm talking about, though. So basically, Scanning Code of Practice means that, like, if something doesn't ring up for the price that it says on the shelf, it's free up to a certain point. Like it's like $10 off or $20 off. Like there's a huge discount off the lowest price you've already been promised. And in a lot of cases, that stuff ends up being free. Walmart used to subscribe to it. I don't know if they do anymore, but in Canada at least. But people thought every store subscribed to it. So one morning I had this young couple come in. They had to be, at the time I was a teenager, but in the time I think they were in their like late 20s, early 30s. Anyway, they came in the Sunday morning. There's no one in the store. It was 10 a.m. We just opened, and I watched them walk in, past the cash registers. They made a beeline for a seasonal, and they came back with 2 totes, like 2 big empty plastic like totes. I'm not doing a very good job of showing you totes on screen here, but anything you would store like anything in. Anyway, they brought these up to the cash register, and this woman's got this smug look on her face. She's got her arms crossed. She's looking at me like, she's like shaking her, she's nodding her head, and I scan these things in. I'm like, okay, that'll be $20. And she's like, no, it's free. And I'm like, no. She's like, well, the price is wrong. So I got on the phone, because Zeller's price, all our prices always rang up wrong. That's why they didn't subscribe to the Scanning Code of Practice, because everything's always bloody wrong. Anyway, so I pick up the phone, I call Seasonal. I'm like, hello, Evelyn, what's, these tubs that these people brought up to the front, like, here's the UPC or the brand or whatever. Can you tell me what price they're supposed to be? She's like, yeah, they're supposed to be $5. I was like, okay. So I go and fix the price and I'm like, all right, they're $5 each. So that'd be $10. And she's like, no, they're free. And she's arguing with me. She argued with me for a good 20 minutes about how they're supposed to be free because, you know, if it's, and I'm like, I know what you're talking about. We don't do that here. She's like, yes, you do. I'm like, no, we don't. And then I have to call my supervisor because the supervisor's got to be like, it's got to be someone else above me that comes and tells these people no. And my supervisor was always spineless. She'd be like, just give it to them. I'm like, no, it's the principal. These people are jerks. They weren't being nice to me either. Like, she was being really mean. Every time. Anyway.
My tragic Zellers story is, and I was probably early adulthood here. I went into a Zellers while they were close, like, you know, starting to liquidate clothes, and I saw an in-box copy of Earthbound, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Maybe I'll come back for it. And the Zellers never existed again. And this is famously one of the most expensive games you can buy. Like, you know, the came with a player's guide and everything. And like I knew what Earthbound was at this point, but like this would have been after Melee came out, but I definitely before Brawl. So probably mid late 2000s, like probably 2006 or so. But yeah, it was tragic.
We might have to end the podcast on that note because I'm gonna go cry.
Do you even like Earthbound?
No, but a boxed copy of like an NES game in 2006. At that point, you probably would have, or excuse me, whoa, an SNES game. Tripped over myself there to correct myself. But even an SNES game in like 2006 would have been like a complete in-box sealed copy. Would have started to go up in price. But anyway, if you're not a fan of the game, you're not a fan of the game. So like,
I love Earthbound, but like I didn't care that much about collecting at that point. Like I didn't have a concept of like, oh, this game is worth $300 now and will be worth $2,000 in 20 years. Like I had no idea that was possible. I think maybe at this point I already had like a loose copy of Earthbound. So it's like, oh, why do I need this?
Yeah, that's true. I remember there was one, I think it was 2001 or 2002. They put all the original red, blue, yellow Pokemon games on sale at Zellers. And my dad, both my brother and I had a Game Boy at that point, or my brother had my secondhand Game Boy, I can't remember, but he was going to buy me a copy of yellow because I didn't have yellow, and he's going to buy my brother like red version because I wasn't going to share with him, of course, because like at the time it was my save was on there. So I was like, well, you're not deleting my characters and Pokemon and stuff, whatever. So $10 for a game, even at that time, was like that was a deal. So and it was clear that like these were on their way out. Like like I think Ruby and Sapphire were either out or on their way, like coming out at that point. So my dad says, all right, let's get in the car. Let's go across the street. We're going to Zellers. We're going to buy these games. They were all sold out because obviously people had the same idea, right? $10 Pokemon games. But I'm so sad I never got that copy of Yellow because now if I want that copy of Yellow in the box, even unsealed, it's like so expensive. Not that I want Yellow that badly, and now that I have it on Virtual Console, like it's fine. But it's similar to that story, Amy-Lynn, where I think about like it's like what it could have been. So
yeah,
I bought all my Pokemon games at Zellers for the first. Up until Diamond and Pearl. I got Diamond and Pearl from EB Games because you could pre-order. You couldn't pre-order from Zellers. But I remember going to multiple different Zellers the morning or the after school the day Ruby and Sapphire came out. The Zellers near my house did not have Ruby and Sapphire, but the Zellers across the city did. I was like, we went to Zellers and they didn't have it. And I was like, Mom, we got to go to the other store. Like, we got to get, if I don't get this Pokemon game, you know what's going to happen. There will be a meltdown, like an actual meltdown, nuclear meltdown. And I eventually found Pokemon Ruby at the other store, I think. Thank God. So, yeah. Lloyd, you were going to say something earlier, and we've just been talking over you. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. I'm just vibing. No, when you were describing your retail experience, I had like so many waves of similar stories, and always middle management would show up and not have your back. Always. They would just give it to them like they were with you being yelled at the whole time. Like, buddy, you've been here for 10 seconds. If you're gonna just give it to him, at least make her like, I'm gonna make her yell at you for a little bit longer. Like,
yeah, give me the power to at least just give it to them instead of me having to like do this whole humiliation ritual where I call you and be like, yeah, my boss is coming over. She's not gonna like this. They come out. I never said it, but I everything I would say would be like, well, let me call my boss. Thinking to myself, and then they come up and they win, and then they're looking at me like I still won. Like I was right. You were right. You just made a stink. You just made a stink. Anyway.
Yeah, sometimes I've thought to myself, like, if I could own a store and I didn't work for somebody else, would I be able to enjoy it? Because then you could stand up for yourself, you could respect yourself, you could kick people out, you could just have fun, maybe, question mark. But
yeah,
maybe that's why these games are fun.
Yeah, that's true. And my dream retirement is to have some kind of store. I just don't know which store I would want. Whether I want it to be like a video store, a video rental store, train store, video games, what have you, card shop. But sorry, I've had one thought though about being a cashier that I wanted to bring up. This is relevant to being gay and queer and trans. Most, like 95%, maybe even more than that, like 99% of the cashiers they hired were women. There was, this is all pre-transition. So there was like me and like one or two other guys at like total over the 3 or 4 years I worked there. So it's very affirming that they put me on cash register because all the other guys worked in the back, right? And some of them worked on the floor, but it was like mostly women on cash. And I was like, why did you put me here? It felt emasculating, but also affirming, but mostly like, am I going to get clocked kind of thing. But looking back on it, it's very affirming because like, oh, they put me with all the women. They knew I was fruity. So anyway, okay, Amy-Lynn, do you want to talk about one more game? And Lloyd, I'm going to forego. I have so many other games I've been playing lately to talk about. I can talk about them next week, but I think I'll let you each talk about one more game before we move on to the news.
Okay.
I don't think I have any games that, like any other games. It's the, we're getting close to the big anime convention here, and I am trying to create a cosplay that is game related. So,
What's the cosplay?
So the Gijinka. So it's a Gijinka, which means like a humanized version of a Sonic character. So hopefully that gets done in 10 days. And,
which Sonic character?
Yeah, Tikal.
Okay.
Which is from Sonic Adventure.
Nice. Ooh.
There's at least 2 Sonic nerds in the comments right now going like, oh my god, that's also my comfort character.
I hope so. I imagine she's a pretty big comfort character. I imagine she's, a ghost kind of thing. So she doesn't have the opportunity to do anything problematic.
You should, when you do your finish your Gijinka cosplay, you should come on the podcast and then the episode after dressed in that cosplay. We should that could be fun. We should do a cosplay episode where we all come in character and do the podcast in character. I don't cosplay, so this is going to be really fun. I'm going to be lost on this one, but I could just be the host. I'll cosplay as a host of a podcast. That could work, right?
Well, you're already kind of like giving Hilda vibes with the hat.
Oh yeah, the 30th anniversary hat, which I spent way more than I should have on. I'm glad I bought it when I did, but yeah. Anyway, for audio listeners, I have the 30th anniversary Pokemon Center hat, which is the Nidorino versus Gengar scene from Red and Blue's opening scene. It's the only 30th
Red and
anniversary
green.
match.
Remember, Blue had Jigglypuff.
Okay, listen. Amy-Lynn has to leave the podcast now.
Just because I always play the second Pokemon game, I need to represent those of us who choose the more passive option.
I feel like Red and Blue is one of those generations that were both. I feel like if Green had come out here, Green would be significantly less popular than Red. But I feel like Red and Blue had equal support at that point. It wasn't until the generations after where the Red Fire character got like lesser than. I feel like Groudon was less popular, Ho-Oh was less popular, Palkia was, I know Palkia wasn't fire type, but Palkia was the red version, was the warm version. That was less popular. And so I always had to pick the fiery character because no one loved them. And at the time, I remember people liking Blastoise more than Charizard in my school. So I always thought Charizard was the less popular character, to find out that Charizard is the one everyone wants now. And I'm like, oh, I'm not normal. I'm not original. Cool, okay.
Well, even back then, Charizard was the one with the like $100 card. Like Blastoise was like $30 versus Charizard was $100.
But that was the only time I remember people being really hyper about Charizard, was that one Charizard card. Outside of that at my school, like people were like, yeah, Blastoise is better. I even had a couple people that were like, Venusaur is better. And I was like, okay, Blastoise I can understand. I'm sorry. Not Venusaur. I'm sorry, Venusaur, I love you. But like, Charizard is a flying dragon that breathes fire. Blastoise is a turtle that has water cannons on his back. Venusaur, what are you doing besides your best?
So
Sorry,
I think
Lloyd.
you were just being bullied. Like, I don't. I feel like Charizard. Maybe it was because the anime was popular when I was in school, but like Charizard was always like the guy. Blastoise was a close second. Venusaur, I really liked Bulbasaur. You know, that whole tree, because no one liked them. Like that was my experience. That Bulbasaur was kind of hated.
Well, the anime
really
had
like
all those
Bulbasaur, but
freakishly large Charizards.
True.
Yeah, there's that one weird episode where all the animatronics are really big. And I saw
Oh no,
that...
I just meant Charizard in general.
Oh.
Like Charizard's height is a lot smaller than the anime portrays it
That's
as.
true, yeah. Well, they had to make him big enough for Ash to ride.
Yeah.
Also, if you've ever seen the scale of Ash versus other characters in the actual like franchise, he's really short. They just make him look really tall because he's like the main character, but he's actually really short. Anyway. Lloyd, have you been playing anything else?
Yeah, I'm actually in the middle of a playthrough on, actually probably by the time this is up, have finished it on stream, but Killer Frequency I'm working through right now. And it is this story-driven game, first person. You are a radio show host and you're used to working in big cities on giant, networks. And this is like your first week on this job in this tiny town, and maybe they explain why you're there. It's not that I wasn't paying attention, but there was a lot going on at the beginning of this game. And let's see. The twist is kind of fun, so I'm not going to get into it. But before you know it, you are the substitute for 911 for the evening. And for some reason, you're still live on the air. And like it's got like this like killer thing going on. It's very cool. I really like it. I accidentally played it for like 5 hours.
I love that premise. Like that's such a cool premise.
Yeah, I got really sucked into it, and it reminded me of my favorite type of games that I like to stream. Like, not that I don't like branching out as a classic variety streamer does, but like being really sucked into like a narrative. Like, there's some puzzling going on. There's a lot of dialogue options. There is failure. You can and will be at the whims of your mistakes. But no, I'm loving it. It's really cool.
Yeah, I saw your Blue Sky tweet where you said, yeah, you accidentally played 5 hours of it on stream too. Like you 5 hours just went by. That is a sign of a great game, that you're like, not even just like objectively great, but like, you're enjoying something when the lights are suddenly like it's nighttime and all the lights are off and you realize you've been staring at your screen for the last 2 hours in total darkness.
Yeah, and I do this thing where I only let the ads run on Twitch hourly, so I line up my breaks with it, and it got to a point where like 3 breaks happened in a row, and I was actually in the back of my mind like, wait, I should check to see if like the schedule got fucked up or something, because sometimes Twitch, really messes up some things. But I looked at the clock and I was like, no, this is... Oh, okay. It's like, I was just on a break. What are you talking about? But
that your enjoyment of this, like your like loss of, and then the premise where you're like, when you first said like 911 call on radio, I was like, that seems really weird. But then I was like, wait a minute, no, that sounds awesome. So I've gone to see it wishlisted on Steam, but I want to see if it's on like a console. I have a little bit of like eShop credit. I want to see if it's on Switch.
Oh yeah, and just like another random thing is that it's in a small town, and the writing for the different characters is superb. Like, you get the small town, like the different levels of jackassery that you see in like the different personalities.
Oh my God. Sorry, it's on Switch right now, and it's $7 Canadian. It's on sale for how much? 80% off right now on Switch. The sale ends on May 28th, so there's lots of time after this episode comes out.
Good.
If you want to play this on Switch.
That's awesome.
I definitely do.
Sorry, Lloyd, I cut you off. I just was very excited there to see that it's
no, I'm excited too.
cheap
I
right
don't
now.
remember. Yeah, I don't remember when I got it. I think I got it once when it was on sale ages ago, and I just noted it in my library, and I was like, "Oh, cool." So yeah, no, that sounds like the best time to get it.
Nice. Don't mind me. I'm not hosting a podcast right now. I am buying a video game that I don't really, I'm not. I said my backlog is big. You guys have no idea how big it is. Just me clicking the direct download button. Actually, I do have a question before I buy this on Switch, Lloyd.
Yes.
Is this better played with mouse and keyboard?
I play it with mouse and keyboard. I've never tried it with the controller. I find mouse and keyboard is good because there are some things that you're given a small window to respond to. So if you happen to be looking down at like the different options you can do to like pick music or to control the radio, and you have to snap up really quick to look to pick the dialogue option. Maybe mouse and keyboard's better. I don't know though. It's probably worth looking up though if you like controller better.
Right. Okay. Because I know it's not on sale on Steam currently, although I'm sure next month when the Steam summer sale happens, it'll probably drop to negative 200% off, and it'll be like they pay you to buy it, and
oh, it is.
Gabe comes to your house with a roast turkey dinner and presents you with the game.
Does he sail there in his yacht though? That's the question.
It is worth mentioning, definitely if content warnings are something you're interested in monitoring as a gamer, look them up, because if you do make the wrong choices, you do hear people die. So that's definitely, check that out if that's something that you like to look into before you buy games. But yeah, no, it's a very cool game.
That's awesome. All right. Anything else on killer frequency? I can't speak. Killer frequency before we move on to the news. All right, let's take a short break, and when we get back, we'll talk about our one news headline for this week. Hi, True Avatars, and welcome back from the break. So, we have one news story today. I was going to throw in another one, but I thought, you know what? This one is kind of interesting enough on its own. So, basically, I feel like a month or so ago, the casting got revealed for Last of Us Season 2, or Last of Us Season 3, which is, again, an adaptation of The Last of Us Part 2, the second half. I keep wanting to call it 2, but it's actually Last of Us Season 3. But in The Last of Us Part 2, there is a little trans boy called Lev, played by a trans actor. I think they're non-binary specifically, but they might be trans-masculine. I'm not 100% sure. I think they were a younger actor at the time of mocapping and playing Lev. So anyway, everyone was really hopeful, especially us on the podcast, that Lev would be played by a trans boy on the show. At the very least, if not, get a cis boy to play him. So at least the gender is correct. But they got a cis woman to play Lev. Specifically, they got someone named Kiriana Crater. Again, I'm not really out to take it out on the actress herself. I blame the casting director, I blame the director, I blame the people in charge, more so than that, because they did say in the article that HBO held an inclusive casting call for Lev with young actors of different backgrounds auditioning. It was won by Crater, who was a child herself at 15. So remember, again, let's not do what Star Wars people did to that one actress from the 8th movie where they bullied her off the internet, or that other child actor from the first movie that they bullied off the internet. It's not her fault that she got cast, okay? Not bully this person, but the fact that they did this opening casting call tells me one of two things. First one is that no one of any talent or any non-binary actors showed up for the casting call. Or two, which I personally feel is probably more likely, because actors can be trained, right? You could find the perfect person to play, but maybe their acting skills aren't up to snuff. Throw them some acting lessons. It's not that complicated. I don't think Lev is too complicated of a role for someone who's already trans to play that character, because everything they're kind of doing is trans 101 in Lev's character, as far as I'm concerned. But what I think is more likely is that they just didn't want to go with a trans actor for any number of reasons, because it's not like they haven't done this before where they cast straight people to play the gay couple. And those actors did very well. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with casting straight people or cis people as queer characters. It's just bothersome when there are so few opportunities for trans actors as it is to take away such an iconic role and give it to a cis person. and a cis woman at that. Like, it would have been almost better if they said we couldn't find a trans masculine actor, but we're gonna cast a cis boy instead in this role instead of like a cis woman. Almost feels insulting. I don't know, Lloyd. I'm gonna look at you, or at least look at your avatar for this. Curious what your thoughts are on this, because you're the trans mask. You're our token trans mask on the podcast. So
the local expert, so,
the local expert, the furthest away, second furthest. I don't know where other Zoe is located.
But so no, this sucks. I agree with you. The quote that you read about like HBO held an inclusive casting, it's almost like when you see the word organic too many times on packaging, it's like you're trying to convince us that you did this correctly when we all know what the outcome was. Absolutely, I don't blame the 15-year-old actress. This is probably a huge break for her. But like any adult involved, it just sucks. Like, I agree that if for some reason they could get away with saying that no one under the trans umbrella showed up, I do agree that casting a cis girl as the character is incredibly problematic. It's very uncomfortable, and just especially with how well they did, the gay characters in the first season. And it just feels like this casting was almost like them going, okay, we've been in hot water about a lot of things. People were really mad about any of the other queer stuff that's been happening here. Let's give them, let's not give them one more thing. And it kind of like, this is kind of like apples and oranges, so it's not a great comparison, but it kind of reminds me of like when Angelina Jolie had like in Maleficent, when they were saying that she had to cast her infant child because no other not infant, but no other children actors that auditioned, could play the part. They were afraid of her outfit. That doesn't make sense. Like, there's a lot of child actors out there. Like, what are you talking about? Like, so like, this sounds just as weird. It sounds just as strange. Like, you held inclusive casting. What does that mean? Did you just open the door and whisper, we might hire you if you happen to be gender nonconforming, and then go, oops, no one showed up? Like, what does that mean? Like, what kind of effort did you put in?
It also makes me...
It's not great.
Sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just want to quickly mention too that like, it's really strange because it makes me call into question the casting of Ellie, whose name escapes me, but the actor playing Ellie is non-binary, and I'm wondering if, because Ellie is also a queer character, Bella Ramsey. Yep. I'm wondering how much of that was just like, well, she's worked with HBO before, she's done Game of Thrones, or they've done Game of Thrones. Sorry, Bella's done Game of Thrones, and we're not casting them because they are trans. We're not casting them because they're non-binary, because they're queer, but we're casting them because they pass for female and they have worked with us before and they kind of look like Ellie. So we're doing this, and then this other stuff is kind of a bonus, but we don't really care about. Like, it makes me wonder how much inclusiveness is happening behind the scenes for these characters. There's these stories that are very well told on screen with queer people, with queer characters.
Yep, absolutely. And like with, I think Bob was his name, one of the two guys in the relationship in the first season, is the actor that played him, was that Nick Offerman? Is that? Nick Offerman, okay, cool. Whenever he is in an interview and he talks about it with so much reverence, doing that role and how important it was, and how much respect he put into it. And for me personally, I'm sure like there's some people that have more fleshed out opinions, but for me, that's perfect. That's what I want. If someone who doesn't match the identity plays the role that I happen to, have, that I'm cool with that. So that, they're okay. They were on an okay, teeter-totter for me with that. But like this, it's kind of like it's not feeling good. It's a little strange.
Amy-Lynn, any thoughts?
I'm wondering, if only cis girls and women auditioned, would they have just said that? Or would that have made them look worse? Like, I'm curious.
Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
I'm sorry, you just made me think of something else too. And you can go back to your thought after this, but like, it makes me wonder with the open cast, the inclusive casting call, was it open to cis boys? Young cis men?
Yeah, that's what I'm
adults?
wondering.
Sorry, if that was your point you were getting to, I'm so sorry to just steal the words out of your mouth.
No worries. Like, I think that, like, yeah, I think I said as much when I'm wondering if only cis girls and women applied, or could audition. Like, what if their inclusive casting call was, here, we want you to play this Asian American, and then they might have even said feminine person or something like that, or had a picture. Like, it might not have even been, here's the gender of the character. Maybe to be fully inclusive, they didn't put any of those details. They just put like a photo of a lookalike or something, and said, audition for this. And then anyone who did look like that, who happened to be like maybe slightly butchy, girls and women, said like, oh, yes, I can do that. And no boys did, because they said, oh, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind, even as far as like the celebrity world, I'm sure there is sort of the, feeling of boys not wanting to play girls because, oh, that's gross, I'm not a girl, right? So like, if they saw this trans man character, trans boy character as a girl, however inaccurate, or they might have just used a lookalike, non-labeled photo, they might have just not actually even put their name into audition.
Yeah.
Or, something could have happened with the agents, right? Like, we don't know how the audition and casting process happened. We probably never will. This sort of thing isn't usually that transparent.
Yeah. And sorry, but it also made me think of inclusive casting, because you're completely right. We'll never know about the casting process, more than likely. But there are a lot of cis people who think they're educated, but they're really not fully educated on trans issues. A lot of people view non-binary as women light, and their idea of inclusive could have just been like, yeah, women and women light, please come out to audition for this.
Yeah.
Like, even... Go on.
I was just gonna say, no, like, a woman and woman light is being like, even some queer events, if it's someone hosting it who happens to be cis or happens to, maybe they are in the LGBTQ community, but they aren't subscribed to any of the gender nonconformance. They go, oh, this is gonna be a ladies' night, ladies and non-binary people, and they think that that's inclusive, and they think that they're doing this wonderful thing. Well, when in fact, you're cutting out so many people, and some people who might be, assigned female at birth, they have the potential, I'm not, so maybe I'm overspeaking, but they have the potential to feel invalidated because you're calling it ladies' night, so there's so many things that people either aren't informed on, or they go as far as going, oh, I'm doing this thing that no one else is doing, so I'm being inclusive. And then that's all they do. And then that's it. That's the whole journey. It's very frustrating.
Kind of like when women want their gay man friend, and they think that's like, that's inclusive. That was inclusive maybe 20 years ago. That's not inclusive in 2026, sweetheart.
But I've noticed even in like education spaces, sometimes events will be listed as like, female identifying students or something like that, which again, they mean women and women light. Usually that like is sort of, it means basically no men. And well, some sapphic and lesbian identities kind of say I'm attracted to non-men. When it comes to like inclusivity and this sort of thing, that's not the place for it, right? Like that's it's disturbing and sad. But as you mentioned, if people think non-binary, they are not thinking of trans feminine or non-binary, right? Like they're usually thinking of trans masculine non-binary, and usually closer to the androgynous portrayal. Like they think of, Peter Pan on Broadway, right? Like they're not thinking of any of the huge diversity that exists within the queer community, which is disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how old Bella Ramsey is?
I think they're either late teens or early 20s, or at least were when the show started being like made.
Okay.
Like when they started shooting it. They're
How
fairly
does that
young.
How does that compare to her character in the game?
Bella's 22 currently.
I know that for season 2, that's actually a good question, because I think, how old is Ellie supposed to be in part 2? I know she's much older.
Because Ian Alexander is 25, and I'm like, why didn't they hire Ian Alexander?
I looked up pictures. I don't know how recent they are, but they did look a little too old. I don't know if you can like get around that with makeup and like CGI, but I do wonder. The thought did cross my mind, like why didn't they just hire the person from the game?
Can't you just age the character up? Like, would that ruin the story?
I would say so. I think this person has to be a kid, because they're definitely someone. Lev is definitely someone who is kind of really at the whims of everyone else, and he only really has like a couple people in his corner defending his gender identity, and it's mostly the rest of the society that he's in, which is a really messed up version of like it's a different society than we've seen so far in the game in the show.
Okay.
But basically, it's like you're playing as I'm trying to remember her name, as Abby, leading Lev through this like Lev is your Ellie in this section of the game, basically. Like Abby is Joel and like Lev is Ellie, in the sense that like he's your companion. And when you're walking past people who are talking about him but they don't think you're there, they're misgendering him. They're using she, her pronouns, and they're making fun of the fact that he's transgender, or ignoring the fact entirely. And it really underscores how little agency Lev has as a kid in this really messed up world of zombies. I do have a question for you guys, though, because I think we should start wrapping up, but I kind of have one big question. I don't know, Lloyd, if you've watched seasons 1 and 2, but if you have, or if you were planning to, does this make you, either of you, not want to watch either the new season or the entire show, knowing that they're doing this to this trans character?
I've only seen season 1. Can't remember what was going on. Either life happened, or the vibes were off, or I can't remember. But season 2 just never happened. Oh, I hadn't played the game, and maybe that's why. But yeah, no, this definitely. I have no interest in the show, to be honest.
What you said, like, I think is very resonant. I can't imagine 25-year-old Xander taking that shit. Like, I think that he would, I forget the pronouns, apologies. But I can't see that happening. I really admire the character of Gray in Star Trek Discovery. He was amazing and like one of the best queer characters in science fiction. To your actual question, I stopped watching season 2 when The Thing happened. Similar to I stopped watching Death Note when The Thing happened.
Okay.
And I know what The Thing is. I know that things after The Thing are good, but it sapped my motivation to continue. I think also the lead up to The Thing wasn't as good as everything in season 1.
Okay.
So it was like,
would this have brought you back then? Would this, if they had cast a trans boy as Lev, would this have brought you back into it? Would this have convinced you to watch the rest and season 3?
It might have. I don't want to give a committal answer, because it takes a lot for me to get invested in a zombie show.
Valid.
Season 1 did it. Like, great job, season 1. But I have cool Fallout if I want a live action video game show that's good. I don't need Last of Us anymore.
I don't want to play with you anymore. It drops me into the bin of toys. So Lloyd, I want to pitch that question to you then. You haven't watched season 2 because you haven't played the game. Would this casting a trans boy to play Lev, would this have convinced you, you know what, I don't need to play the game, I'm just going to watch seasons 2 and 3 and get the gist of it? Would this have convinced you?
Yeah, thank you for asking, because I was getting jazzed up while she was talking. Yeah, no, legitimately, if, especially like 2026, with everything the way it is, they came out and in the casting was a trans boy, I'd be like, hot shit, okay. Like, we got to support this. Fuck, me eventually playing the second game, I'll watch it all. I'll blue sky about it. I'll post about it. Like, it's like, when they give representation, even if it's not perfect, if it's like in a direction I am like begging for, I do my best to consume the media, to consume the content. So it definitely would have gotten me back into it.
That's fair. I'm sure people are probably wondering, listeners at least are probably wondering whether this changes things for me. I still want to watch the show. I still think it's one of the best stories told in the video game. I don't want to project or speculate on the actress's gender. However, they played a very tomboyish, short hair Lev lookalike in the Star Wars show that they were in previously, or that she was in previously. Again, I don't know if this actress is like some flavor of gender fluid or what have you, but I don't want to rule out someone playing a role and discovering themselves through it. If it's done tastefully, otherwise, but I think I think it is tasteless casting on surface, like we've discussed. I agree with that. However, I do think there's an opportunity there for something else. And also, like, again, like the story is really well done. And if it does bring light to trans representation otherwise, and a show that lots of people are going to be watching, maybe that's still good. Part of me is just clinging on to the fact that I really like this show and this video game, and I really just want to see it told in any form. And so part of me is like, it's kind of like some of the people that still want to play Hogwarts Legacy, but despite the fact that J.K. Rowling is who she is. There's still some queer people that are like, well, but I still really want to play Harry Potter or watch Harry Potter. And you're kind of like looking at them like, I don't know about you though. Like, what's wrong with you? People might look at me that way for wanting to still consume Last of Us Season 3. That's totally valid. Judge me, please, harshly. I have a hard time letting go of something that I love, you know? So
I think this is a much milder offense than supporting the Harry Potter franchise.
Yes, I just didn't have another comparison to draw to it, so that's why I chose something
unless the character is like, hi, I'm Lev, I'm a girl, I love being a girl. Like, I feel that, like, if they don't erase the trans story, it still, again, as you mentioned, shouldn't have happened in 2025/6, whenever filming, whatever. Shouldn't have happened today, but it did. As long as the trans story is still in there, at least it's there. If this is also connected to an erasure of the trans event, or the trans narrative, that's when I think it still comes nowhere close to supporting J.K. Rowling. But it goes into a little bit of the judging zone.
Yeah, I really like how both of you, sorry, just super quickly, I want to get this joke in there. The way you both tried to speak as soon as I finished talking was giving all your friends are typing in the group chat thing when you said something controversial. Sorry, go ahead, Lloyd.
Well, everyone noticed she says this and I'm still not talking yet. Lloyd, I love that you are so excited to talk. Everyone point at him. But anyways, one thing that while you were saying, because I didn't know what she had done previously, so I've had no idea about any of her acting before. But as you were saying that you don't know her gender and like anything like that, I was like, shit. This reminded me of what was a Heartstopper or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but it was really famous queer media, and all of the fans were being very, very, very aggressive, especially online, about gay actors need to play gay characters and this and that. And he basically got bullied into coming out. And so while you were just saying that, Zoe, I was like, shit, this is a kid. They're 15. This is really weird. A bunch of adults being obsessed about this kid's gender.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
To be clear,
wait a minute.
Nobody should go online and bully anyone, but definitely not a child actor. Like, I don't, for any reason. It doesn't matter. I don't care if child Hitler is in this show. Don't go online and bully them. Like, it's just bad taste. We're better than that as a community. We're better than that as people. And again, that's why I said, like, I don't want to speculate, but I do want to just say, like, I created art to figure myself out too, and I actually pitched a trans show to Netflix before I came out, and it was rejected, probably because they were thinking, why is this cis dude trying to talk about women shit? And like, I think they're valid. I think that's a valid reason to get rejected, even though like literally 3 weeks after getting rejected, I was like, oh, that's my egg cracking. Yep. Okay. Right on cue. Mm-hmm.
And even if it's well-meaning, it's still not right to, presume someone or encourage someone in that way. Like, especially in the parasocial relationship zone. Like, this is a child you don't know. Even if you are a child yourself, it is a peer you don't know in that case. Let them figure it out themselves as much as is possible now after the onslaught of articles and social media. Like, I hope this person is just not on social media or takes breaks ideal. Or, steps back.
Yeah. We just don't know what's going on with people, and we don't know. And that's just really all I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to speculate on some kid's gender. Just like, this could go any number of ways for a number of reasons. And right now, the only thing that's really a red flag is that HBO made the decision to cast an apparent cis girl to play a trans masculine character. That's all we know. I think it's in bad taste on HBO's part. I don't think it's in bad taste on the actor's part. The actor got cast. They got a job. She got a job. She might be very, I haven't watched the Star Wars show that she's in, but she might be very talented. I don't know. But yeah, if I'm mad at anyone, I'm mad at HBO. I'm mad at Craig Mazin, and I'm mad at, I don't think Neil Druckmann's involved in the show that much anymore because he went to go finish up Intergalactic, but I'm mad at Neil Druckmann too. Because why not? It's all their fault. I don't blame the
Good
actor,
for her, bad for him.
Yeah, precisely. All right, do we have any final thoughts on this before we wrap up for the day? All right, Amy-Lynn, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me, Amethyst Lilac, more wise than you might think. Look to who's following True Avatars on Blue Sky is probably the easiest way.
And there will be a link in the show notes too.
Perfect.
Let me know which link you want. I usually default to Instagram, but I can put whatever social media thing. Perfect. And Lloyd, where can people find you?
Hello, you can find me Lloyd_Lloydster on Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok, and Lloyd.Lloydster on Blue Sky.
Amazing. All right. Well, thank you both for joining me, and I'll see you around, hopefully next week, but if not, in a future episode.
Thank you. Have a good one.
And that just about wraps up this week's show. Thanks, True Avatars, for joining me for another episode of your Queer Video Game Podcast. By listening to the show, you are supporting queer-made content, which is more important than ever. If you want to support True Avatars, it would be really great if you could leave a comment, rating, or review on your preferred podcast platform. You can follow the show on Blue Sky, Twitter, Threads, TikTok, and YouTube under the handle @TrueAvatars, all one word, and on Facebook and Instagram under True Avatars. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe, as well as hit the notification bell so you can be the first to know when new content drops. I welcome you to check out the official website, TrueAvatarsPodcast.com. That's all one word, TrueAvatarsPodcast.com. On the website, you can sign up for the newsletter, where you can get exclusive news and updates on the show. Bye, True Avatars. Thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to speaking with you all again next week. Take care and stay safe.